Yo, what's up? This is CTW number 16, and I saw this movie, right, called Downsizing, and it has Matt Damon, everyone's favorite actor, is the main character, and then his wife is played by some lady whose name I can't remember, but it's got Matt Damon. And so the idea of the movie, right, is that this gay scientist guys, scientists, like, who's that one black guy who they see on TV and he's really annoying? He has like 3 names too. What's the guy's name? Yeah, the black science guy, I can't remember, but it's scientists like him. They discovered a way to shrink organic matter to like 1/2000th the size. This guy says that was gay in chat, I agree. But yeah, they can shrink people down so they're really small, they're like 5 inches tall or something. And so then they do it with people, of course, because I guess that's smart. Everybody wants to be tiny, right? And so then it's like, the idea is, what's like the, social and economic result of being able to shrink people, because like tiny people, everything costs less for them because you're using like one, not 1/2000th of material probably, I don't know how much. Yeah, they aren't exactly very consistent with that in the movie, I feel like, because they say it's 1/2000th the size, but then later they act like, it's 1/200th or something, so whatever. But yeah, so everybody who's like, kind of poor, they're not doing so well in the regular world, they just become tiny, and now they're basically millionaires. All their money is relatively worth more. Hey, fuck you. That guy killed me. But, yeah, so of course the main character, Matt Damon's character, whatever his name is, him and his wife, they wanna buy a new house for some reason, but they don't have enough money. So like, how can we buy a house without any money? And then they realize they can become tiny, of course. So then, yeah, Matt Damon becomes tiny, but his wife is like, haha, I pranked you. And she doesn't become tiny. She, like, bitches out at the last second, so that's a good prank. But it doesn't matter, because, like, I don't know why her character's even in the movie. We just never mention her again. She's just gone. The end. Matt Damon is tiny and she's not. And so then you're like, okay, it's kind of almost an original idea. Like, how are the little people and the big people gonna interact, right? And what effects it gonna have on society and shit? But then as soon as the main character, as soon as he becomes tiny, whoever wrote and directed the movie just forgot that it's a movie about being able to shrink people, and now it just becomes a movie about Matt Damon running around and doing random bullshit for like an hour and a half. Like, it's like 2 different movies. It doesn't matter that he's tiny at all. It has no effect on the rest of the story whatsoever. Just every now and then they throw in like a regular sized object and you're like, oh yeah, I forgot he was tiny for the last half an hour, because it doesn't matter at all. So yeah, for like, kind of every now and then they'll mention something about environmental stuff, because like, if we're all tiny, we don't like pollute the air as much or something. But not everybody becomes tiny. I think it said like 3% of people or something. Don't shoot me. Don't shoot me. You can't hit me, I'm the best. Fall off, you bastard. Yeah, he still didn't die. But, yeah, so they keep mentioning, like, environmental stuff, and then, so, like, after Matt Damon becomes tiny, fuck you, the movie, like, the majority of the rest of the movie is, like, some romance with some Vietnamese lady he finds who talks funny. I don't know, she just talks funny, like a Vietnamese person who learned English, I guess, later in life. But, so that's most of the movie. And then, like, at the very end, they're like, oh yeah, by the way, the world is gonna end. I don't know. The scientist guy who, like, discovered the ability to shrink people, he's there. It doesn't matter that he's the guy who discovered the ability to shrink people. It's completely unrelated. He's just, like, generic scientist now. But he's like, we had a meeting of a bunch of scientists, and for some reason he's included in this, and they're like, we decided that the world's gonna end. It's like too late. The humans messed up the world too bad, so now it's gonna end, right? And then he names like a bunch of ways it's gonna end, or it could end. They're like, we all agree it's gonna end in, you know, some number of years. I don't remember what they say, but we don't know how. And then he names a bunch of ways, and you're like, okay, well, it's got to be a bunch of environmental ways, right? It's like, I don't know, the world's gonna overheat and blow up or something. But then one of the ways he mentions, and there was another bullshit one, I don't remember what it was. One of the ways he mentions is like nuclear fallout. Like, wait, what? You're all climate scientists. What makes you think, what kind of authority do you have to decide that we're going to blow each other up in X number of years? Say it's like 100 years, I don't remember. You're a bunch of like climate scientists, environmental guys. You're like, we're definitely going to die in 100 years. And us blowing up, if we're going to blow up, it's going to be in the next 100 years. Like, what are you talking about? You have no idea. You're an idiot. The only thing you should be commenting on is like how we're going to like pollute the air too much and melt or something. Your skin's going to fall off because you have because the earth overheated. But anyway, yeah. So they're like, the world's going to end. We know it, but we don't know how, somehow. That doesn't make sense, but and so, you know, this is just like tacked on to the end of this movie about, well, it should have been a movie about people being small, but it's actually a movie about that for like half an hour, and then Matt Damon's romance with a Vietnamese lady for like, I don't know, an hour or something. And then the last half an hour is like, oh yeah, by the way, the world's gonna blow up. And so then, let's see, Matt Damon's character, oh yeah, the scientist guy, he's like, the world's gonna blow up, but we have like this underground bunker that we built in case the world blew up. So now we're all gonna, me and my 2,000 boyfriends, or they have like 2,000 people who are all gonna go hide in the underground bunker for when the world blows up in like 300 years. They're like, we're gonna save humanity, you know? Everyone else dies, and then we'll live, and we'll revive the human race. And I was like, what? This guy's a dickhead. Nobody wants him to revive the human race. All of his kids would be like retarded. But, okay, that's his plan, right? And then they're like, us being little people is like somehow relevant, so let's pretend like it's still a movie about that. They're like, full-size people couldn't, you know, hide in a bunker underground because they're too big. I don't know, they're not energy efficient enough. That it couldn't happen. Doesn't matter, it's just bullshit. Like, you're already making a movie with a bunch of fake science in it where you're like, we can shrink people, but somehow you're not like, well, we could have regular-sized people be underground. No, that's ludicrous. But, you know, turning people to like 5-inch tall midgets, that's a pretty small midget still, but turning people 5 inches tall, you know, that's okay. But living underground, that's bullshit. That couldn't happen. But anyway, so he's like, we're all gonna go live underground. And then Matt Damon's like, okay, cool, I'm gonna live underground too. But, you know, the Vietnamese lady, she doesn't want to. And so then, you know, at the very end of the movie, he's like, oh yeah, I probably shouldn't go underground. And so then he doesn't. He stays with the Vietnamese lady. And then the movie ends. And you're like, what? What was going on in this movie? And then, you know, you remember again, once the movie ends, that it's supposed to be about, like, small people. But it just wasn't. So, you know, they had, like, an interesting concept, and then they just forgot about it when they were making the movie. Instead, it's just Matt Damon doing stuff that's not related to being small. I don't know why. Yeah, I don't know how they messed that up. It seems like, you know, you got Matt Damon. He's, like, sort of a good actor, maybe. I don't know. He's in some movies. And you have, like, an interesting concept. And then you're like, well, we should not use the interesting concept. And also, Matt Damon shouldn't have an interesting character. He should just be a guy. He's just a guy. He doesn't really do anything, like, interesting, or he doesn't handle situations in ways, you know, other people wouldn't. He's just like a regular guy who becomes small, but it doesn't matter. My God, that Steve is hitting me a lot. Please don't, please don't, please don't. Come on. Alright. But, I'm actually gonna capture one? Come on. I'm the goat. Here, you block all the arrows, boy. Alright, let's go. There we go. I think that's the first time I actually capture one on here and we lose the game 1 second later. Anyway, yeah, the movie was kind of garbage, so, it was a cool idea, but they just completely messed it up. But anyway, subscribe or you will be...